I'm not grieving. When I found it was stiff and it was going to die anyway. And I didn't kill it.
All right, we're good afternoon. Ms. Woods, would you introduce yourself, tell us your name and your DOC number?
Tiffany Woods, 545546.
All right, and counsel, would you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, Ms. Renata. Robert Lancaster from the LSU Law Clinic, here representing Tiffany Woods today. I can also introduce everyone in the room.
Yes, please.
We have a number of folks who I don't think are showing on the camera, so I want to make sure that the board's aware of all the support that Ms. Woods has. Kashana Woods, her sister is here. Alicia Woods, her sister is here. Tamika Woods, her sister is here as well. Melvin Woods, her brother is here. Elijah Woods, her daughter, is here in support today. Nyla Woods, her daughter, her older daughter, is also here in support. Trojan Woods, her son, is here. I think Najan is on Zoom, who is her oldest son. So all of her children are here in support today. Also, Ms. Keisha Scott. Keisha Scott is here, who is the grandmother. And I believe at headquarters you should have Tanya Woods there, the cousin, Troy DeLon, the father of Troy John, and Pam McGee, who is also a cousin.
Great. And my record, for as far as the folks there, Troy John will be speaking on her behalf. We have Troy John speaking here on her behalf. Najan will speak over Zoom, and then Troy DeLone is there at headquarters who can speak on her behalf as well. Okay, good. Thank you. And we also have the Parole Project who's will be speaking as well. In opposition, joining us by Zoom, we do have Suzanne Ellis from the DA's office, and we'll call on her at the appropriate time. So first, let me just read some identifying information into the record, Ms. Woods, and then we'll get started. Mr. Freeman has been assigned your case, so he'll take the lead on the interview. But first, let me just read some information into the record. So, Ms. Woods, you're here this afternoon. You've submitted an application for clemency. You're seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in the 1st Judicial District, Caddo Parish, in November 2008 to a life sentence for a 2nd-degree murder. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman, please?
Okay, Miss Wood, good evening. How old are you, Miss Wood?
43.
Okay, and how long have you been incarcerated on this crime?
17 and a half years.
Okay, and how far did you go in school?
Prior to my incarceration, 11.
What do you have total in education?
I have a BA degree in Christian ministry. I have a paralegal certification. I have.
That's good. I'm just trying to get back so you can understand everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Ms. Woods, tell us about the events leading up to this. I know there was a lot going on. Tell us, where were you at in your life when this happened?
I was a 25-year-old woman with 3 other children at the time when I gave birth to my son, Emmanuel Woods. He was premature. He had to stay in ICU. At that stage of my life, I was a young mother who was trying to take care of her children the best she could. And I made some terrible decisions. But the woman that's sick before you today, I'm not that same person.
Okay.
And
it is, were you involved in Hurricane Katrina?
yes, sir.
Did your child stay in the hospital prior to being released or was premature?
He was in the ICU prior to being released from Tulane Hospital. When he was released from Tulane, he was released in August, the beginning of August. After that, Katrina came. I decided to leave to save me and my children. So we fled to Shreveport. And that's where we resided, in Shreveport. My son passed away 2 months while we was there November the 27th because of my.
Would you say y'all was struggling at that time?
Repeat that. I can hear you.
Were you struggling at that time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, what was some of the struggles y'all were facing?
We didn't have applicable housing at the time. We was living in shelters. We was refugees at that point. We was living in hotels. We tried to find housing. It took us some months to find applicable housing, and we did find housing. We lived in Hollywood Heights in Shreveport, and my 2 oldest children was going to school, and my remainder children was home with me. I was stressed out. I was depressed. I was lonely. My family wasn't around me. I didn't know if they was alive or not. And I made poor choices, and my son lost his life because of it.
Okay, Ms. Woods, tell me, what was the diagnosis? What did they say led up to your child's death?
Malnutrition. That he died of malnutrition.
And I saw in the report where you attempted to feed him different things.
And yes, I changed his formula to organic milk. And due to my choices, I thought I was making the right choice, but clearly I didn't. And like a couple of months in, he passed away.
And why did you have to change to regular milk?
Because the formula that he was taking, he wasn't swallowing. He was always throwing it up. And then we ran out of WIC vouchers. So I decided to switch it because he wasn't taking the formula like he was supposed to. So I switched it to organic milk. And I thought he was doing better, but he wasn't thriving. And I should have did it.
Ms. Woods, I see you took a substance abuse class. Were you drinking any at the time when this happened?
I was drinking. I used to drink beer. Not regularly, but I did drink.
Do you consider yourself an alcoholic?
Yes.
Have you done stuff in prisons to address this?
Yes, sir. Since I've been incarcerated, I've been in numerous self-help programs, such as Living in Balance, Substance Abuse, AA, and Life Healing Choices. And I also facilitate Life Healing Choices.
How many other children do you have, Ms. Wood?
I have 4
Okay. Are you
children.
in contact with all 4 of your other kids?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I see that some have written very favorable requests to you getting out, so you're involved in their life.
Yes, from the beginning.
Leo, there's not much you can do about it, but the judge was opposed and the district attorney was opposed, the sheriff was opposed. The police department had no comment. Your family is unopposed. Your children have all written in. You're low risk, you're low need. Medium custody. What other classes have you taken while you've been in prison?
I've attended seminary. I've attended Life Healing Choices, Trauma Healing, CJI classes. I have attended MRT. I have attended Toastmasters. I'm still an active Toastmaster. Louisiana Lead Out, IC3, Reentry, Serve Safe, Basic American Sign Language, Cage Your Rage, Parenting, Blackstone.
What class have you liked the most?
The class of one of the self-help classes that I think that I really got something. I got a lot of stuff out of all the classes that I've attended, but I can say parenting. I have taken parenting, and I also took in a Christian version of it, Hannah's Gift, and it taught me that even though that I'm incarcerated, I still can reach out and have a relationship with my children, and that made me say, even though I'm behind these locked doors or these walls away from my children by distance, I still can be their mother spiritually. And parenting taught me that no matter what, I'm still their parent, and I have to show them that they are loved and they are worth it. And no matter what mistake that their mom made, they can be more than what I have become.
Okay, Ms. Wood, I see you've only had 6 disciplinary write-ups. The last one was in 2011 for disobedience. And didn't see any real serious write-ups. What are some of the community services you provided to other people since you've been in prison?
I have assisted with teaching unanimously, teaching Life Healing Choices, Hannah's Life Healing Choices, And also I'm a choir director. I was a mentor and I'm still mentoring. I was a mentor before I became a mentor in reentry. So I'm still mentoring people, my fellow inmates on the compound. Council sub, so I mentor them in that capacity as well. I'm a lifer in Lifers Association, so we pitch in and do things for the community. So I'm involved in numerous of activities in my environment.
Warden, what do you have to say about Ms. Woods?
Yes, sir. You know, we really don't have any issues with Miss Woods. As you can see from what she's talked about, she's participated in numerous educational classes and therapeutic programs while she's been here. Again, we talked about only 6 write-ups, so she's not been any security risk or disciplinary issue on our end. Low risk, no need. She continues to want to improve herself and continuing with seminary. She has done the sign language, which is helpful on our end when we're needing it. And right now she's more recently in MA council. So she kind of, you know, a jack of all trades, kind of has done wanting to learn and want to do more. So she's very helpful for us on the compound. And just if, you know, things are favorable for her today. I know Mr. Myers is on the call as well, so answer any questions, but her intention would be to work with the Parole project.
Ms. Woods, what is your plans after the Parole project if you were to be released today?
My plan after I transition from the Parole project is to obtain my own apartment, to get a job, and to be a productive citizen into society, to give back to my people, for as advocating, for as being a mentor to women such as myself so many years ago, to let them know that they don't have to come this way, to ask for help, and just to do productive things and let my story be known.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. So I will hear from the folks who want to speak in support. And first, could we do Troy Woods there at LCIW?
Yeah.
All right, how y'all doing? I'd like to let it be known that I haven't had much like time with my mother as in growing up, but from what I've had time with her since she's been incarcerated and that she's been reaching out to me and being supportive of me in spite of her situation, she's a totally different woman. I've really seen her grow throughout the years. Like, this isn't just me, like, here and there, like, we have a close relationship, and I've been there with her as she's taking steps and steps, you feel what I'm saying? And through adversity, she still stays optimistic, you feel what I'm saying? She doesn't take it out on others. She puts all her trust into God, you know what I'm saying? And she taught us to put our trust in God. And, like, just everything that has transpired, it has grown us, you feel what I'm saying? And I just love what she's done here, you feel me? But I feel like outside, she could be so much more productive to the lives of others, like, that has been in her predicament, in her situation, and that her story can impact so many people. And she could touch a whole lot of people, especially in the city that we come from, in New Orleans, that this is common, you know what I'm saying? Single parents, you know, doing whatever they could to take care of their children. And sometimes tragedy happens, but I feel like she could really, you know, touch the lives of so many people, you know, just outside of this place, you feel me? And I'm just so grateful that we are at this point. But yeah, my mother has grown tremendously, you know, and I seen the transformation from my own eyes, spiritually, mentally, and physically. You know, she does everything she can for the next person. She's not selfish. She's always been what she can do for the next. She'll put herself behind to help somebody else. you know, and I feel like that says a lot about her character and the type of person that she is. So, that's really what I have to say.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good job. All right. Nijon Woods,
Yes.
we'd like to hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
What was the question? I'm sorry. I was caught up with what my brother said.
Yeah. What would you like to say? What's your statement? What would you want us to know about your mother?
I would like to say that again, like my brother said, she has grown a lot. She has grown tremendously. She has been there for me, and my siblings, while incarcerated. I know, especially for me, from my personal experience, when I was in college, she made sure I had birthday gifts. I guess she was in a program where she learned how to knit sweaters and make, handcraft jewelry. And she was the only one 2 years in a row to actually send me something for my birthday. So I thought it was amazing. She makes sure, I talk to her. She makes sure we are in contact. She cares about what I'm going through. I could vent to her, about what I'm going through in the Air Force. I'm in the Air Force right now in Alaska. That's why I'm not able to be there today. So I could talk to her about what I'm going through. We could, give advice to each other. That's what I love. And I could just tell, even from afar, that she's a mother and she wants to be a mother and that she's learned from her mistakes. I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm sorry. But as my brother said, I believe she'd be more productive on the outside, and it'd be great for us all, for all my siblings, to have her there, have her physically in person, not just spiritually, you know?
Yes, sir. And thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. And thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support, and no problem.
All right. And then let's see, Troy DeLone. You want to step up to the podium, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good afternoon, Warden. I appreciate this opportunity. Everybody up there. I can only echo the same sentiments that which have been echoed so far. I met Tiffany, and both of us are young people, and I'm emotional and all them some programs, you know, it's respect. But when me and Tiffany met so I didn't have a clue, she didn't have a clue with our time. Thanks. Not making no excuse, real. And when I met this woman, just looking back, you know, she had been cooked and endured and become so much trauma in her life. At that point, a 19-year-old woman with a child. And I didn't do no reason. She ended up praying for me. And 3 months into her pregnancy, I left. So trauma, abandonment, thing, she was dealing with me. And so, you know, what happened. And but I like the way she bounced back, her resilience. And I be thinking about it sometimes. It made me feel good sometimes, but I like to look at it as a female version of me sometimes. Because we kept in contact with each other. Our incarcerations to write each other out with a cousin. Sometimes we couldn't even keep up with the letters. We didn't even have a chance to respond in the last letter. We get another letter. Like, hold up, we got to address the first letter first. Make a long story short, I watched this woman. Every step I made, you heard what she said. So first of all, she was further back than me. I started with a GED. I went with a GED. She got her GED. Not long after, she said, I'm thinking about joining the seminary. I was already in the seminary on my way out. I said, you should. It's going to change your life. Whatever. She enrolled in the seminary, got the seminary, did that. Malachi Dash came about. I was on the leadership team with Malachi Dash. She ended up being on the leadership team with Hannah's Gift. We helped her write Psalms 1. She helped her write Psalms 23. I became a mentor in the reentry program. She became a mentor up there. So it was like, man, she wasn't missing. And still right now to this day, although her deliverance happened, she was not giving up. She continued to put up on to the cloud and push forward. Will she do everything that she do? Just like I did for the children, to make them realize that the curse breaks now. This generation. So that's what I want to share. I can't wait, just like my son said, and just like Uncle Will give her opportunity, I can't wait to see redemption in society, in young women. The Lord, she had been. You be a great advocate, and I will be at every step of the way. I'm married, and my wife is in full support of this, and of her too. And that's what I'm here with, because she allowed me to know. So, I'm sorry, y'all. I hope y'all was able to make out some of that.
We did, we got it. Thank you. Thank you for being
Thank y'all for y'all time.
Appreciate it. All right, parole project. Brief comments, please.
Yes, good afternoon. We're here to support Ms. Woods. We know it's going to be, it's going to be a long-term placement, and we are here to work with her. Her case manager is prepared to help her through all the transitional changes, to help with employment, and essentially everything that she'll need upon her release. We just want to just reiterate that we know she has a supportive family, and we want the family to be involved. The Parole Project is here to help with this transition and guide her through it.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Woods, before we turn it over to your attorney, is there a statement you'd like to make to the board?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to sit before you and ask for a second chance. I just want to formally say that I know I made a huge mistake, and that mistake and that bad decision allowed my son not to be able to be alive today. And I take full responsibility for that, but I'm asking for mercy in the court to be the mother that I couldn't be physically to my children that's still here. Thank you.
Mr. Lancaster, excuse me. I believe before I turn it over to you, I do believe we have someone from the DA's office who wants to speak. Is Suzanne Ellis still on?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. We'd like to hear from you.
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to thank the board for accommodating me. I know it was a last minute thing, but I was unaware of this hearing until this morning. I do want to say I've been in ADA. It'll be 26 years later this month. Most of that time spent working with homicide cases. And the reason I made the efforts I did to get on this call today was because this case has stuck with me all these years, like very few have. I prepared this case and presented it to the grand jury. I handled the appellate and federal habeas work. And I cannot forget the sight of Emmanuel Woods. I will go to my grave remembering this baby. One of the reasons for that is I had to view repeatedly the autopsy photos of Emmanuel. Tiffany Woods said over and over and over again for months during this investigation that she didn't see anything wrong with him, that she didn't know anything was wrong with him. No one who saw that baby could have thought that he was okay. The trial judge, because this was a bench trial, went to her reasons for verdict. She was talking about the evidence, and she said, "It is just horrifying. It has been one of the most difficult cases I have had as a judge." And then she directed comments directly at Miss Woods. And she said, "At some point, you are going to need to look at these pictures so that you can live with what you and your common law husband have done in this case." She wasn't a single mother. She had a husband, or a common law husband. "I thought I had seen everything in my lifetime, but I have never seen anything like this. There is no doubt in the court mind that this child starved to death." This was not because Emmanuel was premature. He didn't die because he was ill. He didn't die because he couldn't eat. He was small, but he was healthy. He was eating properly when he was released from Tulane. Every doctor who looked at these records, and there was a lot of testing done, so there was no reason he should have failed to thrive. No reason at all. And in something that still breaks my heart to this day, Nijon, who was 8 years old at the time, told the social worker who responded to the scene that he would try to feed Emmanuel, that he would hold the baby on his chest and comfort him, and that the baby would eat for him, but it would not feed well for other people. And what does that tell you? That the baby was capable of eating. He was just not being provided with even minimally adequate nutrition by his parents, and that an 8-year-old had more patience, more caring, and more concern for his infant brother than the baby's own parents did. So if the baby was healthy and could eat, why did he starve to death? And the answer is easy, because the WIC voucher that paid for the prescribed formula ran out. And Ms. Woods said today that they put milk in his bottle. Well, they did put milk, but they cut it by half with water. They were feeding a premature infant of a few months with half milk and half water. And as the judge summarized in her findings, at the time of his death, they were living in a nice home. They had televisions. They had furniture. They had a stocked refrigerator. They had ample food in the house, and they had not one, but 2 cars at their disposal. They had FEMA money. They had other governmental assistance, and Emmanuel's father, who was living in the home, had a job. And as the judge found, in spite of having money for food, beer, and cigarettes, they chose to starve Emmanuel. And Miss Woods did not, even then, claim ignorance on the point of what she was supposed to be doing with Emmanuel. We had the records to show that Tulane instructed her on what to feed her baby, how often to feed him, and how much. And she testified at her trial, and she said she knew they were supposed to feed him the prescribed formula, but that she and her husband just decided not to do it. They didn't even take the baby to the doctor. He never saw a doctor after he left Tulane, not one time. Furthermore, when I was conducting the investigation of this case, I got CPS records from New Orleans. And this was not the first time Miss Woods harmed one of her children in this way. One of her older children, CPS had to intervene because she was doing the exact same thing. She was feeding the baby a half and half mixture of milk and water instead of formula. And it was harming the child, and CPS had to intervene to protect them. And before the baby could come back, they educated her then on how to feed a baby properly and what to feed them. She knew. She absolutely knew. She had lived with a child being harmed by this course of action before. And here she is with a small premature infant, and she did it again. And just to give you an idea of how bad it was, I wish I had the pictures to show you. Judge Garrett summarized the reaction of the defense's expert pediatrician. This was not our doctor. This was the defense's doctor. And she didn't see pictures of the baby for the first time until she was testifying at the trial. And the court said, and I'm quoting, "When she saw the pictures, she was horrified. I need the Court of Appeal to understand that. When she saw these pictures, this was the first time she had seen these. This look of horror went over her face." And this same doctor, the parents expert, said that feeding this baby milk and water would result in the child having seizures within 2 days. The detective who responded to the scene described Emmanuel as very, very thin, with arms and legs that looked like pencils. Yet his mother, for months, continued to deny to everyone, including the psychiatric experts appointed to talk to her in juvenile court, that she ever knew anything was wrong with him or that she had any responsibility for his death. No one who saw that baby could have said that honestly. And I know the board has to focus perhaps more on how Miss Woods is now than she was at the time. And for that, you have her testimony and that of her family and her supporters, and I understand that. But I would ask you to please bear in mind that, and the trial judge made a very lengthy finding in this case. And she made finding after finding that Ms. Woods lied about almost everything. She attributed basically zero credibility to Ms. Woods. Lie after lie after lie. And in just one of many examples, Ms. Woods said she never took the baby to the doctor because she was, in her words, stuck in Shreveport. But her family, there's only 2 adults, they had 2 cars. Her husband drove to work several days a week. They went to Walmart at least twice the week the baby died. You cannot believe what Tiffany Woods says, because lying is what she does, because she cannot or will not accept responsibility for her actions. Her words today were the first time I have heard or read anything from her accepting responsibility. She filed pleadings, I think it was last summer, asking for relief with the court here, and didn't take responsibility for what happened. So I would submit to you that a more accurate view of her character could be found back in 2005, because both the detective and the CPS worker, and then later the psychiatrist who talked to her, described an utter lack of grief or concern on her part over the death of Emmanuel. They said she was completely unaffected. The social worker, on the day Emmanuel died, said that she attempted to console Miss Woods about her grief over losing her child. And Miss Woods' response was, and I am quoting here, "I'm not grieving. When I found it was stiff, and it was going to die anyway, and I didn't kill it." So you can imagine, and I'm sorry, but you can imagine my outrage today when at the beginning of Miss Woods' questioning, she once again referred to her baby as it. I wrote this down in quotes. It was in the ICU prior to being released. She was not grieved that Emmanuel was dead. She did not accept any responsibility for his death. And she could not, quite frankly, have cared less. And those statements are not my opinion or my belief. Those are her own words. Those words are monstrous. And in my opinion, Tiffany Woods is a monster. And I'm sorry, but I am outraged by her seeking any chance of clemency. This baby was the most pitiful thing I have seen in 26 years. Please do not give her an opportunity at release. Do not give her an opportunity to harm another child, because I am convinced that if she can, she will. She has shown this is not a one-time lapse of judgment. It was a pattern of behavior, and she was lacked remorse, lacked caring, wouldn't accept responsibility, and didn't even grieve for her own baby.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. We do appreciate your participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Lancaster, we'd like for you to close it out for us, please.
Thank you. And thank the board for the opportunity today for Tiffany to come before you asking for clemency. It's without a doubt that what happened back in 2005 was tragic. I think Miss Woods' record, since she has been incarcerated, really speaks to her true character of who she is today. Her record demonstrates that since she's been here, she has applied herself, gotten an education, gotten her GED, her Associate of Arts from the Theological Seminary, her Bachelor of Arts, paralegal. She's currently an inmate sub. She is a mentor here. She is a leader here. She has taken the programming necessary to really address the issues that impacted her life in 2005. her entire record while she's been incarcerated, in the brief that I filed in this case on page 3, begins the list of all of the programs that she's completed while she's been incarcerated. All of that, I think, really demonstrates that she has taken accountability for the death of her son. She has applied herself here and is respected among the population here. She demonstrates that someone who comes to prison and applies himself and really reflects on the issues that led them to prison, addresses those issues, is someone who can succeed, and someone should have the opportunity for a second chance and be released. I'll also mention that the people who actually know Tiffany the best, the people who have spent time with her both prior to incarceration and during incarceration, are here in support of her. That's the entire, all of her children are here in support. And all of her children, Elijah's now in 10th grade in high school. Nyla is in nursing school. Troyjon is, employed at a restaurant. He's in culinary school. And Najon is in the Air Force. They're all doing exceptionally well. They have relied on their mother for support. She's demonstrated that she can be a mother to them, supportive of them during her period of incarceration. Her reentry plan upon release is solid. She's going to be a long-term client of the Parole Project. They'll provide her with transitional housing. They'll allow her the opportunity after their initial programming, when she is able to transition to a long-term apartment that they have, to get her set up to reside and be successful out in the community, serving the rest of her sentence under parole supervision. So because of all of the reasons that I think have been articulated at the hearing, Ms. Woods' record, we request that this board make a recommendation for commutation of sentence to 36 years or whatever sentence that the board would deem appropriate that would give her the opportunity for release.
Thank you, Mr. Lancaster. All right, we're prepared to vote.
I'll move on to executive session. Second.
We have a motion and second for executive session to discuss confidential matters. Any objection? No. All right, we'll be in executive session for just a moment to discuss confidential matters. Just stand by. Okay, we are back in regular session. We are prepared to vote, and Mr. Freeman will be voting first.
Okay, this is a very, very tough one. You see things one way, and I clearly heard what the DA had to say, and got me for a couple loops. We do look at what was happening back there. We also look at what's happening today, which, I listen to the kids, and the ones that are there are doing fine. They're doing well. My vote today is to grant and commute your sentence to 36 years.
Okay, Mrs. Jackson.
My vote is the same. You're not the same person that you were, and if we don't recognize that people who appear before us have the capacity to change, then really there's no point in our reviewing case. I think that you have demonstrated a high degree of rehabilitation, and you offer CMU service to others within the institution. So my vote is the same.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I likewise agree. My vote would likewise be the same. Commute your sentence, recommend the governor commute your sentence to 36 years.
All right, Ms. Woods, and I've listened, like my colleagues, to everything that was said today, and I appreciate everybody's input. I do agree. I don't think that you're that same woman that came to prison almost 18 years ago. I've listened very carefully to your children, and that made an impact on me. So my vote is the same, to make the recommendation that your sentence be commuted to 36 years. So we'll make that recommendation on your behalf. Good luck. Warden House, that concludes our business. We'll sign off. It's 3:10. Thanks for helping us out today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts.